Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez. A couple of stories within the Barnstable public school system have garnered significant attention over the past few weeks. Most recently, Superintendent Dr. Patricia Grenier announced on Friday that she'll be stepping down as of September 2011. We'll have much more on that in a few minutes. First, the Barnstable School Committee last week held its first meeting since the debate began over whether or not it was appropriate for the high school marching band to play at a political rally for now Representative-elect Bill Keating. As has been the case since the story broke, Dr. Grenier was candid in her assessment of how the situation was handled.
I'm going to start off in the way I have started off, responding to one radio station, 3 newspapers, 3 emails, 7 phone calls, and 2 town councilors. I have apologized profusely. So once you say you're sorry, I don't know what else you can do. There was no intent to support a candidate. There was no intent to be political. And so embarrassingly, I would say to you, there was an absolute naivete that we did not see the forest through the trees, that what we saw was an opportunity for 14-year-olds to 18-year-olds to be in the presence of the president originally and then the vice president. And as the band director said to me the other day, an 8th grade girl was standing shoulder to shoulder with the vice president of the United States, and that is something she will never forget. Were mistakes made? Maybe. There's very mixed opinion about this. People believe that the band had the opportunity, and there has been a number of precedent-setting events across this country where public schools have in fact played for dignitaries, Republican and Democrat alike. So I'm sorry mostly that 2 things happened. One, that we lost our perspective, because I think perspective is very important. I'm sorry that we were so wrapped up in giving our kids an opportunity that we weren't broad-based in our thinking enough to say what are the other implications that could be as a result of this. Because as adults, that's our responsibility. And secondly, I'm sorry that an opportunity that the kids found special may put them in a compromising situation. As one student said the other day to the band director, is everyone in town angry at us because of the turmoil that's swirling around as adults pass back and forth their viewpoints? And so I'm sorry that their experience was compromised by that. But I have taken responsibility from the moment I received the email at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning as the leader of this school district to say that it was probably, as Ann Kennedy said, it was probably too narrow in perspective to think that people could differentiate playing the song Walking the Vice President In and the appearance of being at the rally, being photographed and interpreted as supportive of a particular candidate.
Members of the school committee also had an opportunity to weigh in on the issue. Here's some of what committee member Tom McDonald and Chairman Patrick Murphy had to say.
We have to stay focused on what our core missions are. Are mistakes made along the way? Absolutely. Will we continue to screw up going forward? Absolutely. Was this one? That could be debated for months and years. What we have to do is figure out where are we going from here and how do we, A, maintain solid communication between the school committee and the town council, B, how do we do what's right for the students in the school district, and C, how do we develop sound policies to make certain that whatever decisions are made are supported by law and by common sense.
Once we get some guidance from the Office of Campaign and Finance or whatever other offices we want to look for guidance from, my suspicion is that we're going to be asked to come up with a policy that governs this kind of decisions going forward with guidance from any town council policies. And I can assure you, I may be the only one in the room, but we'll have an open meeting to talk about this. It is not going to be sort of swept under the rug or anything like that. The school committee knows what the school committee's job is. It's to set policy, it's to provide guidance to the superintendent, it's to oversee the budget. We do that. We do that well. We will continue to do that.
As we mentioned at the top of the show, the other big story in Barnstable schools was the recent announcement that after 35 years in public education, Superintendent Grenier will retire as of September 1st, 2011. Earlier today, during her regular weekly appearance on Barnstable This Morning, Dr. Grenier explained her decision.
The only way I guess I could describe how I came to the decision was everybody has their own standard of what excellent looks like in their own work. And my standard for the superintendency is that it is a job that requires you to be accessible and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
And I find myself in the last few months wishing that it was not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Wishing that when I left on a Friday afternoon, I could really, in my own head, think I don't have to pay attention to work until Monday morning. And I think when you get to that point, then it's time for you to leave.
Are there any other factors over the course of the past few years that have led you to this decision? I mean, of course, the fiscal year 09 there, everybody knows and everybody watched as you went through a very, very challenging budget process. I can't imagine that that was a mentally easy thing for you to negotiate.
Honestly, when I look back at 09, and I remember literally sitting at my desk thinking, I can't do this.
Wow.
Thinking now that when I look back on my career, I will say that that was one of the high points of my career in the sense that together we did it. So in reflection, 09 did not push me over the edge. I will tell you that I did go a week ago to a conference, the school committee superintendent conference, annual conference, and Friday was called Fiscal Friday. And on Friday, they talked about the fact that this upcoming year, FY12, that the state is going to be in a very precarious situation because they have spent the federal monies that were given to them as appropriately as they should have.
Yep.
And they have drained their rainy day account. It's almost like the state is going to be next year where Barnstable was 2 years ago. And I thought to myself, to keep asking our staff to do more with less is hard to do. So that was an influence for me, for sure. There are two other huge influences. One is that professionally, years ago when I got my doctoral degree, I got my doctoral degree so that I could always have options in my career. And I do a lot of college teaching and educational consulting, and I'm hoping to pursue work in that area. And I've always wanted to own my own business. And then finally, everybody probably knows this because I am absolutely obnoxious about it. I am a grandmother of three 15-month-old children. I just adore those three, and I guess I want to be available on weekends or on a random Tuesday to say, I'll take all the kids and the moms can have the day off or something like that.
Grenier later told us that she still has a lot to accomplish before she steps aside, such as getting the FY 2012 school budget passed, as well as finishing a long-term facilities plan and a major curriculum development project. For complete versions of last week's school committee meeting or today's episode of Barnstable This Morning, you can visit the town's online video archives at town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, that's all for now. I'm Nick Cortez, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.